We can go ahead and get started. I believe we have met. Here. And we're not counting our vacancies at this point, correct? Okay, yes, so we have. So we're going to have a relatively short meeting today, but this is probably going to be our last short meeting for a while now that the school year is starting and people are coming back to town. So just for viewers, my name is Corey Woodley. I'm the chair of the Pullman Police Advisory Committee, and we're here as the liaison between the community and the police department. And we're going to go ahead and get started here. So I'm going to call this meeting to order. And first and foremost, does anyone have any comments on the meeting minutes that were sent out for the last meeting before we move to approve those? I read through them and they looked good. I mean, I wasn't there, so I'm not going to make any comments for any edits on this one. Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve?
A motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, great. So, how did the discussion on the Lentil Festival go? Are you all excited to participate in that and make some awareness about our committee to the public? Did it go well? We have the board here today, so some photos were added to the board based on your comments from the last meeting. That looks really good. I'm excited about that. We're going to be printing cards. Let's see, what other handouts are we going to be having besides that? Does anyone have any comments on any of that? I'm going to be there most of the time. So, I mean, everyone else is signed up, but I'll be there during other people's shifts. Bringing you guys chili, of course, and making sure that everyone is taken care of. So.
I'll be, unfortunately, I signed up at last meeting, but we have kind of a perfect storm of family situations coming up on that weekend, so I'll be missing the Lentil Festival for the first time in 12 years. 13 years.
Well, that's too bad.
Yeah, actually it is. That's a pretty good record, but yeah. I'm sorry I can't be there Friday night.
Oh, that's okay. What shift were you signed up for?
I think it was 7 to 9.
Okay, we'll make a note of that, and then we'll put my name down at that time instead.
Thanks so much for that.
Yeah, no problem.
I apologize ahead of time.
Do you have a sheet that lists?
I had it, but I don't have it on me right now. I know it's in the minutes somewhere, so Justin just sent it to me. But I'll grab that and make sure that I'm going to be there pretty much the whole time anyway. There's food there. I'll be able to survive out there the whole day. So, yeah, I'm excited for that. The police department will be taking the second day, I'm guessing, as we did the same thing as last year. Yep, okay. So I wanted to talk, I know I didn't put this on the agenda, but we're going to just talk a little bit about setting up dates for agendas for the upcoming few meetings here. We had talked about having a day where we talk about code, city code here, to bring that and awareness to the public and let the public come in and ask us questions about city code, and talking to Gary Jenkins about bringing in an officer to talk to us about city code and the different things that are covered under city code and the types of questions that citizens can address with city code and city code officers in general. So that's one thing we had talked about. We talked about doing, having a firefighter come here and talk to us about the connections between the police department and the fire department in terms of, you know, if there's an emergency that happens, how does the fire department and the police department work together? That would be a really interesting thing for citizens to be aware of. Another thing we talked about was traffic, which I figured we would talk about under the code, and then also having that theft day, where we would talk about theft awareness and having that at one of our meetings. So that's like 4 meetings right there, and then maybe inviting somebody from the university, the police department, to have them come in this upcoming semester would be a good idea.
I think we already covered the theft one when Sergeant Opgenorth came and did a presentation for us.
Oh, yes, of course. I didn't know if I thought we had talked about doing like a follow-up or something around there, but maybe it's something that's in my notes. Does anyone have anything else that they would like to see on the agenda for this upcoming year, this upcoming school year period where we have a lot of students coming in? Anything that makes you think, oh, students would be attracted to coming to this kind of thing? And community members, of course. So Chief Jenkins, do you think that we could get a code officer in here for the next meeting? Or is that not quite
No, I
enough
think we
notice?
can do that. I would just, for the September meeting, the date that it's currently scheduled, and then I'm going to be out of town. The week before that is Labor Day, and the week after that, I'll also be out of town. So I could have another, if Commander Kenneth's available, I can have him attend in my place.
Yeah,
If that works for the
yeah, if that works for everybody else.
And I can, whenever you want to have the code enforcement or the code presentation, I think probably the best person to have in for that would be Code Enforcement Officer Liz Schaefer. She deals with most code issues for us, and she has a good idea about the types of things that are going on and can probably answer most questions that somebody has about codes.
Yeah, okay, that would be great.
And that's, I think, our next meeting, September 12th, correct?
Yeah, I can contact Liz or,
I can do that.
okay, perfect, thank you. All right, so now that we talked about that, and we can go ahead and move on to the police department update before we do our constituencies poll, so.
Could I say something about that?
Yeah.
So the September code enforcement agenda topic. What sort of advertisement would we do prior to that to let the community know?
I was thinking that we would primarily use Facebook and also announce it for our YouTube channel. We can also advertise it within the school, maybe do some sort of flyer. We can advertise it in the community as well if we want to do something more along those lines. I mean,
Can we have something for the Lentil Festival?
yeah,
I mean,
could
if we have enough
decide-
presentations in advance, we could put together a year's or as many as we have.
Yeah, well,
That way we're handing out
yeah,
information that people might come and attend.
yeah,
If
we
it's an
could do
interesting
that.
topic.
We could contact Liz and see if she can commit to that.
Once we have the agenda items set, maybe make a little flyer for the Lentil Fest.
Right,
Yeah.
and then, Chief Jenkins, do you have a suggestion for the idea of having someone talk to us from the fire department about fire department and police department interactions? Do you think it would be best to bring in someone from the fire department itself, or bring in an officer, or
Yeah,
both?
no, I think someone from the fire department would be good. I'll talk with either Chief Heston or Assistant Chief Scharnhorst and tell them what we're looking for and have them provide, either one of them or someone that could talk to that.
Okay, perfect, because that would be a good time to do that. We could do that in our October meeting if they're available on that second Monday in October. And if we could get those two dates lined up, and then,
Okay, I can probably get those confirmed tomorrow.
oh, perfect, great. Yeah, and then we can make a little flyer and hand that out at the Lentil Festival. It's a great idea.
As far as the Lentil Festival, is it right, you have a flyer for the emergency stuff, right? Emergency management notification?
Right, we do have a brochure on our emergency notification system.
Okay, and is that going to be then available to us?
Yeah, we can bring those out. Sure.
Okay.
Do we have the fingerprinting kits available like we had last year, or?
What is it that?
Oh, the
For
child
children?
ID kits?
Yeah, the child ID ones.
Where do you get those from?
We ordered them from someone, but I think we still have some left. Would have to dig in the room.
Okay, yeah, and if we need to get some, we can get some.
Okay.
Those were quite popular among
Okay.
the parents last year for getting people to come in, and I know that Justin had a great time giving away the suckers and getting people into the tent and talking to people, so, yeah.
All right, we'll make sure we have some.
Okay, perfect. And then we can talk to somebody from UPD about coming in this upcoming semester, the University Police Department, and giving us a presentation of a sort. Does anyone have any ideas for that at all that you want to explore?
Thing is, we used to have the joint meetings back, or
Yeah,
back when they had such a thing, so.
I blame Berto for the fallout of that.
You know, maybe it would be good, I would suggest maybe having them just talk about some differences in university policing compared to the city policing and some of the challenges that they face on campus and in dorms and those types of things.
Maybe might be worth talking about how you collaborate on big weekends too, like for football weekends and things like that.
That would be the 14th probably of November.
Yeah. It would be great if we could get someone booked on all three of those meetings, because then we can actually head that out and talk to people at the Lentil Festival about these meetings and recruiting people to come to them. So,
What's the October date?
do we know?
The 10th.
10/10?
Following the pattern.
You had mentioned that theft is a topic, and I just wondered if that should occur before winter break.
Well, we had up
That's
north
right, never mind.
here, and I had written down that we had some follow-up questions on that, but I
Okay.
don't have my regular files with me. But we can put something down to do something maybe even in January again to readdress the issue, to talk about anything that comes up in our upcoming meetings, whatever. We can figure that out as time goes on, but yeah, having this handout for these next three would be really nice to have advertised. And then we can also advertise the police department update, let people know how spicy it is and how cool it is to be at those. And so,
So spicy.
yeah. I gotta keep people watching somehow. So does anyone have anything else before we hear what's going on in Pullman?
Time for the spicy part of the show. I guess I need to spice up my delivery.
No pressure.
I'll just throw in, I really like this chief's shirt there. That's pretty impressive.
All right, there's a start. So I previously reported on police officer recruitment that we're doing. We have an immediate vacancy, and we're still in that process. We're doing background on a candidate still. So that's still in the works. The city is going to be replacing their deputy city clerk. Jane Joyce is going to be retiring, and so there was an in-house process for that, and they selected Dee Stiles, who is one of our senior records clerks. She was very well qualified because she does a lot of public records requests, responses, and that's a lot of what the deputy city clerk does, is coordinate public records requests in the city, amongst other tasks. So her last day with the police department is August 31st, and then she'll be moving across the street over to City Hall. So we're going to initiate a recruitment to fill that position. We had our annual liquor license holder training on July 19th at the Bell Tower. Mike Yates provides that venue free of charge for us, and we had 54 employees and managers of liquor license establishments attend that training. And the training is put on by both the officers from our department as well as the Liquor and Cannabis Board. On July 20th, we had the joint Pullman-Moscow City Council meeting in Moscow. We do that once a year. They had both Chief Fry from Moscow and I talked about impacts of I-502 and marijuana in both Washington and then also in Idaho. And we also talked about just the collaboration between our two departments, which one of the things that we do collaborate a lot on is forensic evidence collection of computers and mobile devices. To get expertise and hardware and software to do that well takes some time and money and training, and with the amount of staff that we have, it's really tough for us each to do. And so we are sharing resources there, and they have some equipment and software that we don't have, and we have some that they don't have. We have some personnel trained in mobile forensics, and they have personnel trained in computer forensics. And so we are helping each other out in that area and sharing those resources. And so that's been really helpful, and I see that continuing to grow, perhaps even to a regional level, because the need for that type of work continues to grow. The annual summer reading program featured the police on July 21st, and Officer Lamley and Patrick and I all read at the library, along with a Washington State trooper. Also on July 21st that evening, the library had an event at Rainey Park, and we had an officer and a police car there to interact with the kids there. On July 25th, we had a group of middle and high school students from Okinawa. They have a group come over to Washington State University every year that are in a English program, and they come over and visit City Hall and the police department and the fire department. And so they come over and we give them a tour of the police station, and I think we ended up on a lot of selfies in Japan, and we posted their pictures on our Facebook page, and I noticed that some of them were liking that.
Yeah.
On July 28th, Washington State University hosted a animal sheltering tabletop exercise for addressing animal issues in a disaster. Liz Schaefer participated in that exercise, and then also the board member from Whitman County Humane Society also participated. And Liz came back with some good lessons learned from that and some information that we need to nail down to be prepared for an emergency. And that group will be given a report to our local emergency planning committee meeting next week. On August 1st, Avista hosted a reception for community leaders to meet with the new WSU President Kirk Schultz and his wife Noelle. So I had an opportunity to meet and talk with them. They seem like very personable people, and so I think he seems like he'll be a really good fit here. Wednesday, August 3rd, I attended the first task force meeting for the state legislative body worn camera task force in Olympia, and then the next day I had an emergency management meeting in Clinton. And I was about a quarter of a mile behind that fatal collision west on the 90 on Wednesday with that ammonia truck. So I got delayed a little bit on the freeway there. They actually let us get off and go around, but that freeway was closed for about 12 hours, I think, on the westbound 90. Friday, August 5th, Officer Emerson and I went for our annual meeting with the WSU football team and coaches, where we addressed the football team and talk about our expectations for them throughout the year, and that we work jointly with the coaches to address player conduct off the field. On July 19th, we issued a press release on our MyPD app. And so if you don't have it yet, you can just go to your online app store and look for MyPD, MYPD. And when you download it and open it up, and it'll ask you to identify United States and what state, and we're the only agency listed in Washington, and you pick that and you're ready to go. And you have an option of skipping all the profile information if you don't want to provide any personal information, or you can enter that if you want. We don't have access to it, but although it does allow us, I think we can send out emails to those that give their email address, but if you skip that, then you wouldn't get the emails, but you get other notifications on the app. And then on July 28th, we issued a press release for the nextdoor.com online program, which is kind of like an online neighborhood watch where people can join different neighborhoods and talk amongst themselves. And then we can also push messages out geographically on that system. And we don't have access to conversations that neighbors have amongst themselves. We can only get information if they send it to us directly, and then we can push information out. And right now, there's 158 online members to that. Military Hill has 42, College Hill has 30, Pioneer Hill has 47. And then we also have a couple of little areas that we marked out. One was downtown, and one was the airport area. Both those have 0. We excluded WSU campus as part of this, since we don't provide any really information about things that occur on campus property. So we intentionally excluded the campus property, but we have everything else on College Hill included. You may have heard that we're conducting an investigation of an assault that occurred a couple weekends ago involving a number of members from the WSU football team. That investigation is still in progress. We're working with the football staff, who's very cooperative with us and is actually helping us in the investigation and helping identify additional witnesses, making their players available to us when we ask for them. And so they've been nothing but cooperative with us. And we think that investigation we're hoping to wrap it up sometime next week. There were a lot of people to interview.
I had a question about that. This happened off campus, and the Pullman police are involved. But WSU students, so on, are the WSU police involved in this at all? And how do you?
WSU police are not involved in this at all.
Since it's off campus.
Correct. However, WSU Office of Student Conduct is involved because when students are involved in misconduct, even if it's off campus, the Office of Student Conduct will still get involved in those situations and address situations administratively, independent of any criminal investigation.
But say if this had happened in a dorm on campus, Pullman police wouldn't be involved in.
Right.
All right. I just didn't know.
Later this year, we're going to be adding in-car cameras. We had in-car cameras up until the beginning of 2013 when we implemented our body-worn cameras. Our in-car camera system at the time was aging out and was taking a lot of IT staff time just to keep it up and running. So we phased that out and went to exclusively body-worn cameras. And now we're going to add back in-car cameras, and those will also be from TASER, who provide our body-worn cameras. And so they'll work together and be the same online storage system that we currently have. And it'll give us more video to have available. Council meeting last week, I gave our annual police department report to council. Do we have those here?
Yeah.
Okay, so they were in the stack, so they're available to you. We also have it posted online. Some things coming up. We're currently working on our 2017 budget. I have to turn my budget request in to finance by the end of the month. The only real big change for us budget-wise is that this year we held a police department IT position vacant because Jerry Cork, who had been in that position, was promoted to a city IT position. And we decided at the time to keep it vacant to see if we could still get adequate support from the city IT staff instead of having a separate police department IT person. And the final analysis was that we need an internal IT person at the police department. So towards the end of this year, we'll start recruiting for that and hoping to have someone hired at the beginning of 2017, assuming that council approves that in the budget. This Thursday, we're meeting with Pullman School District staff. We meet twice a year just to go over what's going on between our two organizations and any issues that we've had and anything that we see coming up, and just continues to keep the good communication good between our organizations. Constituency follow-up, the fence that was down off by the jogging trail, Richard, I think that you reported that. Public Works is right now negotiating a repair price with the contractor to take care of that. You may have, if you've been up Center Street at all, you may have seen that there's some speed radar signs, one going north, or well, west from Grand, and then one coming east, that's at Atani, and then the one going west is at Fountain, right about there.
Yeah, it's right on Fountain.
And those were installed by Public Works as part of their project to slow traffic down on Center Street. They had been looking at a number of different options there, and along with putting a traffic signal at Center and Grand, and that's coming also. I think that is already being planned. I don't remember exactly when they were going to do that, but it'll happen, I would say, within the next 6 months. That's all I have.
Thank you, Chief Jenkins. Does anyone have any questions? I'm curious about the decision to add car cameras back. So what are those cameras running constantly, or just when the officer's on duty, and what kind of differences would you say you would get?
So that they won't run constantly. They'll be similar to our body worn cameras in that they'll be turned on for specific events, and we'll also have an automated feature on it, like we had on our previous in-car cameras. So when the emergency lights go on, they'll automatically turn on, and then officers can turn it on manually. There's 2 cameras per car. One faces for the front out the windshield. The other one faces back towards the back seat. So when there's someone that an officer is transporting, it has the camera on that person. That helps with, sometimes we get complaints about something an officer might have done to someone that while they're in custody before they get into the jail where there's more cameras. And so we, from the time even preceding arrest all the way through the time they're released from custody, we would have someone on camera that we could address any type of issue that or concern that came up. So they won't be on all the time. When we had the pursuit of the homicide suspect from Moscow, I looked at the officers that were in that pursuit and looked at their body-worn cameras. We were lucky that the officer in the very front car, his camera was positioned so that you could see out the front windshield, and it was actually a really good view of the whole pursuit. The second officer in line, just the way that his camera was mounted and the position of it is, we could see how fast he was going because we could see his speedometer, but that was pretty much it. So the in-car cameras will be really good for officer emergency response to show what the officers are seeing, or at least what we can see out the front of the car when they're responding. And also so for events like a drunk driver, that can be documented in the camera. And then also, again, the advantage of having the recording of someone that we're transporting in the back of the police car.
Do you anticipate a large increase in labor hours to go through this extra footage, or?
It will increase the time it will take to respond to public records requests for those. So far on our body-worn cameras, we have not experienced a huge change in the amount of public records requests we receive. So most of those videos are provided that we make are because we're providing it to the prosecuting attorney or defense in criminal cases, and those we don't have to redact any of those. They're all tagged with the case number, so it's just a matter of finding the videos to that case number, and actually, we just send an email to a prosecuting attorney, and they can access our system. We give them access to our system online, so then they can just access the videos from there. So we haven't seen a big change in the requests. The new legislation also will help with that, so that requests from people that are not involved or would have a legitimate interest in the videos would have to pay for redaction of those videos. But that's the long answer. The short answer is, yeah, it will take more time because we have more video. Yeah.
And then I just had one more question. You were talking about coordination between departments on forensic cases or forensic investigations. I'm curious what kind of forensic stuff we deal with within this area that needed to be addressed.
So we've had some child porn cases where we have to essentially certify that these images were on this person's computer, and we can, in some cases, we can determine where they got those images from. And so that takes a certain amount of expertise and software to get that information off the computer. And there's a lot of technical aspects involved, so that we're not changing the original hard drive of the computer, but we're able to get a copy of that and then analyze that copy. And so there's a lot involved in that. And then just about any crime nowadays, someone has a cell phone with them and could contain evidence of the crime that they're arrested for, either text messages or phone calls. And so that evidence sometimes is helpful in those cases.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right. I did forget to address our emails earlier, so we should go back to that. We got a couple emails. So from Janice Brown. I don't believe there's anything specific in here for us to address. I don't know if you guys had a chance to read these. I didn't understand the email on August 5th around 9 a.m. But just so you know, we have those. If anyone wants to address those, feel free to bring it up. Should I technically be reading these out loud, or is this something that...
I don't think that, there's copies over there.
Okay. All right. And then, one more thing I wanted to address today was public comment and the continuing of recording during public comment and posting that on our YouTube account. I was thinking that maybe we should readdress the length of our recording and cut recordings off after our constituencies poll, just so that public feels free to be in here and openly talk without feeling like they're being recorded and like it's going to be put online or held against them by their neighbor if they're approaching something, if they're talking about something that involves their neighbor, you know, or anyone else for that matter. What do you guys think about this topic?
I think what you said makes sense.
It's kind of a good solution
Okay.
to address both needs.
So then we can just let people know that for public comment, they can check our meeting minutes.
Maybe what you can do is have a time for public comment that is recorded, but also let people know that there'll be an opportunity to talk without the recording, because someone may want to have it recorded.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Do I hear a motion to do that? So we have a motion to be recording, I believe, until the end of the meetings from 5 months ago, or whenever we started this. So I would need a motion to.
So moved.
Well,
I second.
Okay.
Yes.
do you want to state what you're proposing?
That we have a period of public comment. Part of it would be open to recording, part of it would be not open to recording. And it would be the option of the person reporting to us, or persons, as to which they, or he or she wanted.
Okay. I hear a second.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. That's how we will continue from here on forward. All right, let's go around with the fun part, the poll. So go around, introduce yourself, say your name. I feel like this helps for people watching on camera for us to go in a circle and say our names and the areas we represent, and then tell us any updates that you have. So who wants to start? Either side works for me.
I'll start.
Whatever you guys.
Yeah, Adam Williams, Sunnyside Hill. And the only thing I had was that we had a new speed radar on Center Street.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. People have been going
Does
slower.
it flash? It looks like it'll flash.
As soon as you get to 26 miles an hour, it'll start flashing.
Okay.
Well, we haven't figured that out yet, so, because we don't speak.
We had a case last week where someone called to report a car driving like at 50, 60 miles an hour down Center and gave a really good description of it. An officer found the car later and contacted the driver, and we ended up finding a number of witnesses. And so the officer issued a citation for reckless driving. And so we went back and through Public Works, we were able to get, we can't get a speed at an exact time, but it breaks it down into 15-minute increments. And in the 15-minute increment that this car was reportedly speeding, they had a high speed of 63.
Wow.
So we'll be able to use that for the reckless driving case. So they've already been a benefit.
Wow, that's great.
Good.
How many witnesses does it take to do that kind of, where you feel like you can give someone a,
Well, if we have, I mean, one good witness is enough. I don't know.
63 you get through there is way too fast.
It's way too fast, yeah. And I don't know exactly how much he was able to identify the driver, but the person that was stopped in the car admitted to driving on the street and admitted to driving the car on the street at that time. So the specific identification of the driver wasn't as important as just identifying the car.
wow, that's interesting. It's good to hear. And I've noticed that people are slowing down as they see those signs, so that's good. It's a good thing.
I'm Phyllis Stahlkopf, also from Sunnyside Hill, and I really have nothing to report. I did the Snake River fire deal. I just am really pleased that those 3 people, came forward and are owning up to whatever they did. And it sounds like it was, nothing but a pure accident, but still a lot of damage was done, so.
All right. So I am under WSU faculty and staff, Corey Woodley. I don't have any major updates. There's a lot of students coming back to campus right now. Things are getting busy, busier at student involvement, just busier in general. It's exciting to see people coming back to town, but also, oh, darn, got to get back to work again, working with students and getting stuff ready. That's pretty much all I have. How about you, Berto?
Just a few late night events coming up. Next Wednesday's our first Up All Night event, which is an event meant to occupy the time of the students coming to campus. So next Wednesday night during the first day of move-in, we'll be hosting that event on campus from 9 p.m. to midnight. And then on the 20th, the Saturday, we have what's called Project Zoo, which is another late night event to keep our students occupied. Sort of a nightclub style event with refreshments, just like soda and appetizers, things like that. To keep the food is what keeps them coming, and so we are giving out a lot of ice cream, pizza, and things like that between those 2 events. And then we'll have our first concert event on campus on August 24th with Coug Fest, an annual event. So should be probably see a noise variance permit coming through very soon, and doing our best to keep the students occupied at night. So, in a week.
You'll be busy the next few weeks.
We will be.
So I'm Derek Tetzoff. I'm business alternate. Don't have anything too much to say. I've noticed some things come through from the police department on that house, my neighbor or whatever. I think there was
Oh, next door?
next door, yeah. So I've seen that.
I'm Marcy Gilliland. I'm the Pullman School District Parent Representative. I have nothing to report in terms of concerns. I'm finished writing a letter that is geared towards a parent and a student in recruiting a couple of folks for my position. Specifically, I'd like to get a student, so I'm conversing with a couple of sophomores, want to get them young. And also, I'm going to just go stalk some parents I know and see who would be willing to step up. And then regarding the, I'm sorry, what is it called? The neighborhood,
My
My PD app or Nextdoor.com.
Nextdoor. I did create a perimeter for Sunnyside Hill, and there are about 4 members on that one. And in that, I did a little hello just for others that want to join it, saying that I was on this committee as well and to direct concerns my way. So.
Very good.
All right, Bill Holman, Pullman School District Principal at Franklin Elementary. And first off, I'd like to, Chief Jenkins mentioned the work Pullman School District does with Pullman PD, and that's increased over the past several years, I think. And we enjoy those meetings. It's been very good to have time to talk about things that come up that concern all of us together and that kind of thing. So I've really appreciated that. Also really appreciate your thorough briefings at these meetings, Chief Jenkins. They're great, very informative. And business is great, as I think I mentioned last month, in the Pullman School District, and we're fielding new applications for students, student enrollment right now, and you know, it's been mentioned a few times, and I've repeated it a few times. I think the secret's out that Pullman's a great place to live. Wow. So that we're rapidly gearing up, and we have an odd, slightly later start for school. We'll be starting not the week after Lentil Fest, but the week after that. So the 31st is our first day of school, and we will have a lot of kids in our hallways at that time. So looking forward to getting things rolling again. This summer we've had, by the way, just if you've noticed, at any time almost that you drive by one of our schools, certainly the elementaries, and it's the high school is just a whole nother animal with all the construction and that kind of thing. But if people wonder what teachers do with their summer vacations, there's been essentially no day that there isn't somebody at a school working on their classroom or working on things for the next year and that kind of thing. So they're very busy places. And in addition to that, we've offered at all 3 elementaries, and then in the secondary realm as well, some summer school opportunities for students that could use a little bit of reinforcement and remediation in some areas. And so we've had some pretty busy hallways at times. And we're currently at Franklin housing an English language learner summer school for, I think, in somewhere close to 30 students right now with 4 staff members. So there's a lot of that kind of activity in the summertime there. The schools aren't very quiet very often, actually, which is good. So that's all I have.
Richard Hume, Pioneer Hill. Comment and a question. Comment, I really enjoyed the daily news story, what was it, last week, with the kids coming in with cookies for the Pullman police. Are you gaining weight?
Yeah, we're hoping people will start bringing exercise equipment next.
That was an enjoyable article to read. An actual constituency question. What's the status of the arson of Planned Parenthood? What's going on there?
It's still open. It's essentially inactive. We have no new leads on that case. So actually it might be getting closed here soon. Sometimes on a case like that, it might be years before some evidence turns up that will lead to solving that case. Much like when we had the Grove arson fire and we arrested someone on that, and he cleared up cases from many years back of arson cases. So, or sometimes somebody's talking to somebody else in the jail, and person he's talking to kind of wants some favors, so wants to turn that information over to receive some favors, so sometimes that happens too. So there's a lot of different ways that evidence can turn up later, but right now we don't have any active leads.
I also meant to ask about the hotel fire downtown. I don't know what the update was on that.
We made an arrest on that case. It was a person that had been in the room and I think the roommate was there when he started lighting different things on fire in the room. And he was having some issues at the time, which is why he ended up doing that. But we did make an arrest on that, and that charges were filed.
Okay.
All right, great. Well, do we have any public comment at this point that would be recorded? Do we have any public comment that you wish to remain unrecorded? Steve, I'm so surprised at you right now. You've been dying to talk about this rooster in our neighborhood.
Also there for the code meeting.
For the code meeting?
Well, I could ask off the record, I suppose. So I was wondering, I don't know, on Sunnyside Hill, I've heard like a rooster starting from like 3:30 in the morning till in the evenings. I don't know if that's, I mean, I know chickens are allowed, but certain laws.
I'll follow up on that. After the meeting, we can rush together.
Oh, yes, thank you. So, we do have someone with us. I don't know if I should be even saying, can I say your name? So we have Maria Dixon with us. She's from the League of Women Voters of Pullman. She's going to be here as an observer. She's going to be listening in, hearing what we're talking about. She will not be taking part in this in any way when it comes to questions or taking part verbally or having any comments or being involved in any business of the meeting. She's like literally just the neutral observer here to go back to the League of Women Voters and be that representative who hears what we have to say and see if there's any comments that they have for us at all. So just want to let you guys know that she will be here, and we're excited to have them here and listening to us and what we have going on here.
She'd pass that along then if there were comments.
Yes, I believe that she would bring the comments to us from the League. Would you, or would you not? Or?
Someone from the league.
Okay, so we would maybe get an email or some sort of contact that from anything that we've gone over where they can communicate with us somehow to get. But it's very nice to have them here, so thank you for coming. Let's see, and I believe that's all we have for today. Chief Jenkins will be getting back to us about some upcoming meetings and getting some people on the agenda for that. And then as soon as we know about that, I will be putting together a handout for us to have at the Lento Festival. So make sure to get excited for all that yummy chili, and we hope to see a lot of people there. So.
And I think we also want to do a handout with all of our social media information too, right?
Yeah, we can we'll make something.
Yeah, and the apps. We have, that was on another handout though, the information for the apps, right? The, My PD.
It could be all
Well,
the
we
same.
have cards for my PD. They sent us a box of cards that,
Yeah, if we could just make people aware that is there, that would be nice.
oh, and then we're working on the shirt situation. And Corey did have a question about how that works, getting shirts for the
Yeah.
committee.
I didn't know if people who have been on the committee longer, if you guys purchased your shirts, or how you guys had this done, or if Arlene took kind of the lead on this and had these shirts designed, and then how you guys did that.
Arlene took the lead, and I can't remember if I paid or not.
I think we did. I think
We
they
did?
paid,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't see any committee member having a problem with that. It's just a matter of who do we go to, what kind of rights do we have for using logos, what kind of
I think you
things
had
should we-
mentioned that the logo you like prefer we use.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, just our badge patch, the badge patch logo, which is that's pretty much how we brand everything that we do nowadays.
I think Phyllis is right, because I'm cheap, that's why I don't have a shirt.
I was thinking, I don't have a shirt, so I don't think.
Well,
Get it now.
I have
So
one,
those
and I
that
think
we're
Justin
paying
might have
for.
one. They're
Justin
blue,
has
they're
one.
kind of a royal blue, like the color of that tape, with then a different sort of silvery blue print, and it is hard to read, and we talked about a different color contrast.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, and
And then maybe something that's not like the whole logo right here, but just,
Like a patch,
pocket,
yeah.
Yeah, we're working on looking at well, not necessarily a prototype, but a shirt like one that we're looking to get. That I think it sounds like doing an embroidery with that logo is going to be really tough. So we're looking at some other options to get that done. And Darby's been working with a couple of vendors on some ideas, and so we'll continue to follow up on that. Oh, and
I tried to make it clear we were aiming for Leno Festival,
Yeah.
so I'm hoping we're making progress toward that.
I do remember that the previous shirts were purchased by people that were going to be working at Leno Festival.
right,
That's right.
And, and I wasn't, so therefore I didn't. I probably could have purchased one. I'm not real sure. I think it was mainly just for the workers at, or those that were going to be attending Leno Festival and kind of working it, so.
yeah. We could also have some sort of name tags made for us working at the Leno Festival, saying, who we are, or whatever. And we'll figure that out. Maybe next year we'll be even more prepared. We'll have all sorts of stuff, balloons with police advisories. So, all right. So I think that's all we have for today. But it's only 53 minutes. It's not too bad. Do I hear a motion to adjourn at this point? Since we are adjourning early, don't we have to do that?
Motion to adjourn?
Okay. Second.
I second it.
All those in favor? All right.